All right, let's talk about the things you can add to your soil for strong, healthy plants. Of course, before we do, this video is brought to you by Real Growers Recharge. As a matter of fact, I'm going to save the sales pitch because everything we're about to talk about today is in Real Growers Recharge. So come on, let's get into it, I see.
All right, I'm ready, man. Let's talk about some of the stuff we can add to our soil.
Yes.
But before we do, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
This confused me. We're not talking about nutrients. What's the difference here?
Now, nutrients have food in them. This is soil amendments. These are things that will allow that food to get processed and assimilated into the plant. Sometimes it's just something that will make your soil better, more able to hold nutrient, but they're not the actual nutrients. It's not the actual food.
Okay, so this is more like stuff that helps your plants digest the food rather than the food itself.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, let's jump into it. This one is kind of sexy. I hear people talk about it a lot, but I also hear conflicting reports about it. So let's start off with Micrizy. What is Micrizy?
Sure, man. Micrizy, I've seen from seed or from tree to shining tree. There's all sorts of YouTube videos and interesting stuff about it. Myco is fungus. Rhizy is root. It's a fungus root. It's a root that, it's a fungus that inserts itself into the root. And then it makes like a secondary root system. So there's all these increased surface area. There's all this more place for nutrients to be absorbed. So it's a huge benefit.
So it attaches itself to the root and then kind of acts like a secondary root. You were explaining it to me like your arms. If you got an arm, you can grab some stuff.
Yeah.
But
I was thinking, like somebody dipping their hand in a jar of water or something like that. My hand in a jar of water is only going to hold a certain amount of water. It's going to stick to it. I use the Wolfman analogy. It's the hairiest person I can think of, but a wolfman with his super hairy all over his hands. When he lifts his hands out of that water, he's going to have a whole bunch more moisture holding on to that, just because the surface area, the absorption points, the places for the water to be held onto. There's just more of it there. That's the idea behind Micrizy. If you have this fuzz, hopefully we've all seen fuzzy roots, Micrizy inoculated roots, and it's just got all these absorption points on there. It's really cool, and it increases the nutrient absorption capability of your plant dramatically.
Okay, and not all Micrizy is the same. Can you explain Ecto versus Indo, I think?
Yeah, there's two big different just types of Micrizy, I guess. The Indo is the one that inserts itself into the root tissue. And then there's Ecto. And the Ecto is the one that you'll hear about a lot of times with pine trees. That's the sexy one they talk about that sends these little filaments, these fungal hyphae, these strands all the way hundreds of feet to other trees. And it makes this whole communication system. Mm-hmm. That's great for forests. That's Ecto Micrizy. That has nothing to do with cannabis, though. That will just it might as well be sand. It's not gonna form any kind of association. So the Endo Micrizy, look for, they start with G. Glomus is the species we're looking for. Glomus intraradices. If you'll see that on a label, that's the one that really works with our favorite plant.
Okay, so if I'm going for Micrizy, I want to go with the Indo Micrizy, and you said it was
Glomus intraradices. That's the one. That's the one you want. There's a couple that work, but but the Glomus intraradices is the one that works the best.
All right, cool. Next up, Bacillus. Explain what Bacillus is and why I want it in my media.
Yeah, Bacillus are bacteria. And bacteria are loaded with nutrients. Bacteria are able to hold. They're able to absorb nutrients. It sticks to them. They call it adsorbing. But they're loaded with nutrients. They end up living and dying in the soil. And when they die, they're just like this nutrient bag ready to be used. And they're also sticky. I have another analogy. It's even grosser than the Wolfman. That is when you wake up in the morning, you're on your, in your teeth, you've got bacteria all in your teeth. They've stuck to them. They've made this glomulin, this glue to stick to your teeth. It's the same thing in soil. We want those bacteria to make this glue. They stick to the soil, and then your nutrients are stuck in that soil.
So I'm putting nutrients in my soil, in my media, and instead of just running through and flushing out, it sticks to the bacillus. It stays near the root zone in the soil. And then when the bacillus dies, it releases that nutrient.
Yeah, they're like these little capsules. So it's just right there. It's easy to be released.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about Trichoderma. This one's kind of controversial.
Yeah, Trichoderma, it's controversial because when you read about it, it's a real aggressive fungus. So people are worried about it outcompeting other fungi. It works in its specific situation. And in soil, it is all around. It's in cocoa coir. Naturally, it's just found in cocoa coir. It is a super useful fungi. So I'm going to advocate for Trichoderma. It suppresses plant disease. Things like Pythium, soil-borne diseases. It's really good at suppressing those. It also helps with nutrient uptake. It's pretty neat. It makes these hormones, these plant hormones. IAA is one of them, and it just helps with nutrient uptake. So it's just a good general fungi to have in your soil.
And you mentioned out competing. Can you explain that a little bit? Because some pathogens we do want it to outcompete, right?
Absolutely. You've got this blank slate, we'll say. If you have a sterile media, you've got this blank slate. So you can either have nutrient cycling and beneficial bacteria and fungi colonize that. If you leave it blank, though, you're leaving it open for anything to colonize. So a pythium or something that a pathogen that gets in there, well, if it's wide open, they'll set up shop and multiply like crazy. If they show up there, and especially if there's a real aggressive fungi like Trichoderma there, good luck. They're not getting a foothold.
Okay, perfect. And the next one, humic and fulvic acids. These ones also, I know in California, there's like some discrepancy on whether they even recognize them as two different things.
Yeah, they are different. Humic acid is a bigger molecule, and fulvic acid is a smaller fraction of it that floats on top. Humic acid is great for soil. It builds soil structure. It's, you find it in compost and compost teas and stuff like that. And then the fulvic acid is a chelator. It's good to move things around. It lowers the amount of energy it takes to get nutrients into the plant. So it's a great organic chelator.
Okay, so that means it helps get the nutrient into your plant, and it also helps them move around.
Yeah, I'm thinking of amino acids as well, but yeah, they help move the material up the plant, for lack of better words.
So nutrient uptake and mobility.
There you go. Don't make me say phloem, bro.
Okay. And then the last one that recharge is really popular for having is kelp.
Yeah.
Why would I want kelp in my plant, in my soil? I'm confused.
It's hormonal, bro. No, kelp is loaded with means plant hormones, and it makes it the fastest growing plant in the world. It's able to do that just by pulling its nutrients out of seawater. It's amazing. So we're not able to make it drink salt water, but we're able to take those phytohormones, extract them, and put them on our plants, and it works. They're growth stimulators, and they really work well.
Okay, so it gets that hormone that helps the kelp be the fastest growing plant.
Yep.
And then helps your plants grow fast.
Yeah, they transfer over. Those hormones do transfer over, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about a couple of ways to get all of these things into your soil, into your media. I know that you said there are certain standalone products that you can buy one of them at a time.
Yep. Yeah, like Micrizy, they'll actually grow the Micrizy on the roots. They grind up those roots, and then it's like a powder. You can roll your plants in them. So it's that's one way to do it.
Okay, another thing, I remember compost piles when I was a kid.
Sure.
You said people have found a way to kind of extract the best stuff from the compost pile into compost tea. What is that?
Yeah. And you can brew compost teas, just like you would brew any kind of a tea, with a tea bag or whatever. But you would, you can favor either bacterial dominant compost teas or fungal dominant. That's not my specialty. But yeah, it depends on the inputs and how long that you brew them for and all that kind of stuff. So you can get, bacteria and fungi out of compost teas if you know what you're doing.
Okay, and I've watched videos on YouTube about it. It seems kind of stinky and really messy to brew compost teas.
It's just a different religion. You know, if you're super into that, man, if you love making your own nutrients, great, man. If you like making your own compost and compost teas, I have a bunch of friends that do it, and they seem like they're having a lot of fun doing it. I'm not that way. But for me, mixing all those together, using all those components separately, it's not just the way I grow. I like to keep it simple. I'll once a week I apply my recharge. It's got all the components that we talked about. All of those components are compatible. So once a week, I'm putting them in there. I actually have some molasses in there, which is a stimulant to it's a sugar to get the bacteria growing. But that's all I put on there, once a week recharge, and it gives me everything I need for healthy soil and healthy plants, strong healthy plants. But what about you? Do you like dipping your roots in Micrizy? Do you like using compost teas? Or do you like keeping it simple, just using Real Growers Recharge? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and check out the other couple videos YouTube's recommended to you. I think you're gonna like them.